Okay, so let's figure out how to do heparin calculations. To do heparin calculations, you're going to have a protocol. Most places that you work is going to have this on a chart. This is just one that I'm using for an example. You've got a bolus of heparin at 80 units per kilogram. You would begin infusion at 18 units per kilogram per hour using a 28,000 unit heparin in 250 mils, which is a concentration of 100 units per mil. Then you would adjust your heparin daily based on your PTT results. If they're less than 35 seconds, you're going to bolus with 80 units per kilogram, then increase by 4 units per kilogram per hour. If it's 35 to 45 seconds, you're going to bolus with 40 units per kilogram, then increase by 2 units per kilogram per hour. If it's 46 to 70, there's no change. If it's 71 to 90, then you're going to decrease by 2 units per kilogram per hour. If it's greater than 90, you're going to stop the heparin for 1 hour, then decrease your rate by 3 units per kilogram per hour. So you're going to need this protocol for the problems that we're going to work on. So either print this page, write down this information, or you'll have to flip back and forth. So the very first thing we want to look at is how we're going to bolus heparin to get started. So we want to bolus per the protocol for a patient that weighs 160 pounds. So we're going to start off according to our bolus. We were going to bolus 80 units per kilogram. Our patient is 160 pounds. So we know we have to convert that. 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And we have to put our concentration in here, which was 100 units per meal. We know we've got to have our units on the bottom so that they'll cancel. And so we're going to put our meals on top. So we want to make sure that everything cancels out just like before. Our units cancel, our pounds cancel, our kilograms, and so we're left with milliliters, which is what we want because we want to know how many milliliters we're going to infuse. I'm going to take out zeros. There's 1 0 on top, 1 on bottom, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. That's just going to make my math a whole lot easier. So then on the top I have 80 times 16, and 80 times 16 is 128. We're going to divide that by what's on bottom. 1 times 2.2 times 1, which is 2.2. And so when you divide 128 by 2.2, you end up with 58.18181818. So our bolus is going to be 58 milliliters. So that's what we're going to give as our heparin bolus. So then we need to figure out what we're going to start our heparin infusion at. So after we give that bolus, we've got to start our infusion. And it says to begin your infusion with 18 units per kilogram per hour. So we've got 18 units per kilogram per hour. Our patient is 160 pounds. We know we have to have it in kilograms. So our kilograms are 2.2 pounds. We know that we're going to have our concentration, which was 100 units per meal. Units we're going to have to be on the bottom. So we're going to put a meal on top. 100 units on the bottom. Now let's cancel and see where we're at. Our units cancel. Our pounds cancel. Our kilograms. Now we're left with meals per hour, which is what we want. We need to know how many meals per hour to run this at. So there again, I've got some zeros. I'm going to get rid of this 1 on top and this 1 on the bottom. And that's all I can do. So now I just need to solve my math. So when I do my math, I've got the top, which is 18 times 16, which is going to give me 288. On the bottom, I have 1 times 2.2 times 10, which is 22. So I have 288 divided by 22, which gives me 13.0909090909. So we're going to run this at 13 mils an hour. So 13 mils an hour is what we're going to start at. That's where we're going to start. After we give our bolus, then we're going to go to the 13 mils. So then it tells you that the next day, your APTT results come in and they're 38. So when looking at our protocol, that puts us at the 35 to 40. So it says we're going to bolus with 40 units per kilogram. So we want to start off there. So when we do our 40 units per kilogram, our patient is still 160 pounds. A kilogram is still 2.2 pounds. We still have 100 units per milliliter. When I cancel my units, my pounds, and my kilograms, then I end up with my milliliters. So this tells me that for my bolus, this is how many milliliters I need to give according to my results. So I'm going to go ahead and take out some zeros, one on the top, one on the bottom, one on the top, one on the bottom. And so then I'm going to do my math. And so with my math, I've got 4 times 16, which gives me 64. And then on the bottom, I have the 2.2. So when I take 64 and divide that by 2.2, I get 29.09090909. So we're going to do 29 milliliters. This is our bolus. Then our protocol tells us that we need to increase our rate by 2 units per kilogram per hour. So we're going to have to figure that out. So now we're going to do 2 units per kilogram per hour for 160 pounds. Kilogram is 2.2 pounds. It comes a milliliter in 100 units. You're not supposed to use a U for units anymore. I'm just simplifying it, making it a little bit easier. So then we want to cancel our units, our pounds, our kilograms, and so we've got mils per hour. So then I'm going to take out a 0 on the top, a 0 on the bottom. Then I'm going to do my math. So now I've got 2 times 16, which is going to give me 32. And on the bottom, I have 2.2 times 10, which is 22. So 32 divided by 22 is going to give me 1.4545454545. So basically 1.5 or 2 milliliters per hour is going to be our change. And so it said that we're going to increase it by that. So what we were giving a while ago was the 13 milliliters per hour. And so now we need to add the 2 milliliters per hour. So we're going to increase to 15 milliliters per hour. So we're going to bolus with 29 mils, and then we're going to increase to 15 mils an hour. So then we come back the next day. And on the next day, our results come in and they're 92. So we see that greater than 90, we're going to stop our heparin for 1 hour, and then we're going to decrease our rate by 3 units per kilogram. So now we need to go back and figure out how much 3 units per kilogram per hour is when our patient is 160 pounds. A kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Our heparin comes 100 units in a meal. So our units cancel, our pounds cancel, our kilograms cancel. Our 0 up, 0 down. Now we just have to do our math. So 3 times 16 is going to give us 48. And then on the bottom, we have 2.2 times 10, which is our 22. So 48 divided by 22 gives us 2.181818. So we have 2.2 or 2 milliliters an hour change. And since we were over 90, we were decreasing. So we were at 15, because remember we started at 13, then we added 2. So now we're at 15 mils an hour. And we need to decrease it by 2 mils an hour. So now we're going to go back to 13 mils an hour. So I hope this makes sense. It's basically just following that protocol and knowing that every step you're going to have to figure the math and then add it or subtract it to what you had before. And then the boluses are going to stand alone.